A major tornado outbreak is expected today across parts of the mid-Mississippi River Valley, the lower Ohio Valley, and parts of the Tennessee Valley, with a very rare high risk for severe weather having been issued by the Storm Prediction Center. That's 5 on a scale of 5 in terms of severe weather potential. I want to go over the exact severe weather threat to expect, the timing, the impacts, and some of the dynamics that are driving this rare forecast as we go throughout the day today. Let's start out with our severe weather threat map to give you all a general idea of what to expect as we go into this afternoon and into this evening, guys. Overall, very likely to see severe weather in that red area. That's where we could see 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts, several tornadoes, and large hail. I wouldn't be shocked even to see greater than 2-inch diameter hail in areas within that highly likely region. We've also added a hatched area where we are concerned that there could be multiple strong EF2 plus tornadoes. We could even see some EF3 plus tornadoes in this region as well, and we'll even break that down in a little bit more detail here in a moment. Impacted cities: Chicago possibly could see some severe storms, but the highest threat areas will be more towards Indianapolis, and then especially with that higher tornado threat, Louisville, Memphis, Evansville, and Paducah, Kentucky. So again, guys, here's a general idea of what to expect for the system as a whole. We will get into some specific details with timing as we go throughout this video, but here's a look at the current radar. This is as of about 10 a.m. Eastern Time, April 2nd this morning. We do have severe storms that have been ongoing across parts of the eastern plains this morning. In fact, several areas of severe thunderstorm warnings for wind and hail having been issued across parts of Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. We've also seen several tornadoes already this morning as well. But the key thing that I want to note, look at all of the clear weather out ahead of this main line. The vast majority of the day today in this region will be dry. That is very, very important. It's going to allow the atmosphere to destabilize. We already have some clearing ongoing in some of these areas that will amplify the instability in the atmosphere. As these storms move east, as we get into the heat of the day, they're going to be able to tap into an environment that is very favorable for severe weather and, yes, rotating storms and potentially some strong tornadoes. I'm going to take a look at the simulated radar as we go throughout the duration of this system, guys. You can see the time in the bottom left. So this is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, whatever we're in right now, doesn't really matter. 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can see here, guys, we have strong to severe storms extending from northern Illinois through western Illinois, Missouri, northern and northwestern Arkansas. A couple of key things that I do want to make a note of here, guys, is we actually have some embedded supercells within this region. You can see here actually some embedded supercells through here. We'll start to see that get going as we work into the late morning and into the early part of the afternoon, and these will intensify as they push further off to the east. By the time we work into 3 or 4 o'clock, a couple of the key things that I want to note. Number one, there's a high potential of some discrete supercells developing in this region in here out ahead of the main line. We can see that here with the latest HRRR. Why is that important? Well, those discrete supercells will hold a higher potential for longer tracked and stronger tornadoes. Now, you can still get tornadoes, there's no doubt about it, and some stronger ones in embedded supercells within the main line back out to the west. But this is the reason that I personally think that higher severe risk, that 5 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center, needs to come a little bit further north, more into southwestern Indiana, where some of these supercells initially fire off in the middle part of this afternoon. Now, as we continue to go throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening, again, you can continue to see some of those supercells trying to develop out ahead of the main line. You can see some of that down here across parts of Arkansas as well by about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. Some of these supercells kind of attached or out ahead of the main line will certainly have the potential for strong tornadoes. But really anywhere, guys, anywhere in this line, I think there's the potential for tornadoes, damaging winds, and very large hail. As we continue to go throughout the rest of the evening hours, 8 p.m. here, guys, again, a tornado threat extending throughout this line. What you will also start to notice are some of the bowing segments of this line. That is indicative of a strong wind threat as well, and you can certainly have tornadoes when you start to get those bowing segments as well along this line. So again, this is by about 8 o'clock Eastern time. As we continue to go throughout the evening, this threat will continue to push off to the east. Certainly, I still think that tornadoes, probably some stronger tornadoes all the way out through 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern time will be possible down in here. You can kind of see some of those in parts of northwest Mississippi, western Tennessee, and eastern parts of Arkansas, while we continue to deal with some of these spin-ups and a damaging wind threat all the way into central parts of Kentucky and western parts of Ohio. And then as we get throughout the rest of the evening hours, guys, we should slowly start to weaken the severe weather threat, but the line kind of stalls out, and that's where we will set up that extreme rainfall threat that will persist over the next several days. Taking a look, guys, at the current visible satellite, a couple of key things to note. Number one, look at all the clear skies that are developing across parts of central and eastern Kentucky. We also have some clearing beginning to show up. You can kind of see here across western and central Indiana down through southeast Missouri and here. We can see some of it in central and eastern Indiana through here as well. There's going to be enough clearing that will allow for this instability to build as we go throughout the day. And I think that we're seeing that being reflected on some of the latest runs of the HRRR. This is a look at the instability. And so the brighter the colors that you see, you get in those yellows and oranges, that indicates very strong instability, which can allow for these stronger storms and these supercells to sustain themselves and potentially produce longer track tornadoes. The trend over the past several runs, each and every run has trended stronger and stronger with the instability signal. We also see these photographs here across parts of Indiana very curved. You can see that, especially through these regions in here. We have strong curved photographs, which indicates strong rotation throughout the atmosphere. Note these curves here. You can see it here. You can see it here. Anytime that you see that, it's indicating the potential for a rotating storm, and add the instability on top of it. And I'm certainly concerned about the southern half of Indiana, northern and western Kentucky, southern Illinois, western Kentucky for discrete supercells and longer tracked tornadoes, which again is why I personally think that the high risk needs to be a little bit further north, more into parts of Indiana. Taking a look at some of the dynamics here, guys, this is the 850 millibar winds. We have a very strong low-level jet that will be ramping up as we go throughout the day today. You can see that here. Some spots, 60 to 70 plus mile per hour winds, not too far above the surface. We are also in an area of upper level divergence. If we take a look at the 500 millibar jet, you can see a very strong jet stream up here, 125 knots. That's an insanely strong upper level jet. And it's in this region, in the right entrance region of the jet through this area in here, where you get a lot of lift. And again, that will enhance the embedded supercell and the discrete supercell potential in this region. Very, very strong dynamics to support damaging tornadoes and strong tornadoes as we go throughout this afternoon and this evening. Taking a look at the instability by about 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern in parts of the Ohio Valley, what I'm starting to notice, this red wind barb here that you see, note how it's out of the south. We're seeing a trend in the data that these winds are a little bit more out of the south as we get into the evening, which will again help aid in the potential rotation of these storms. If we take a look at a photograph here in central and southern Indiana, this is actually near Bloomington, Indiana, as we get into the, this is about 4 or 5 o'clock where those discrete cells could start to fire off. Look at the photograph here. This is a very, very strong signal for strong wind shear and rotation. We have a ton of instability, and the sounding here actually indicating a particularly dangerous situation tornado threat. Basically indicating a strong tornado threat with any discrete cells that fire off in Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, and Tennessee out ahead of the main line this afternoon. I also am noticing further down to the south a pooling of higher dew points along the line, nearing 70-degree dew points in this region in here. That is going to allow those cloud tops to lower even closer down to the surface, which enhances the tornado threat in this region. Taking a look at a sounding down there, you'll even notice closer to western Tennessee and Arkansas, these winds even stronger out of the south. And then in this particular location, we also have stronger instability, higher dew points, higher temperatures, meaning we have a very unstable atmosphere, with really strong rising air. Also a very strong curved hodograph, a lot of wind shear, and so I think that this area is also ripe for supercells and potentially EF3 plus tornadoes in this area. Taking a look here at a couple of other dynamics, guys. Here's a look at, I'm going to show you here in a second, the 700 millibar winds, because I do want to talk about the wind threat as well. Taking a look here, note how the jet, this very strong jet in the middle part of the atmosphere, really ramps up across parts of Indiana as we get into this evening. What will that mean? Well, I think that's going to enhance the wind threat and potentially 70 to 80 mile per hour damaging straight line wind gusts with this line of severe storms as well. Taking a look at our official threat maps. Here's a look at the tornado threat map. Let me zoom this back out for you all. I'm going a 5 out of 5. BAM Weather going a 5 out of 5 in terms of the risk for numerous long track EF2 tornadoes across southwest Indiana, including Evansville and just west of Louisville, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas. I'm very concerned about damaging tornadoes in these areas. You could certainly get numerous tornadoes and a couple of longer track tornadoes in that 4 out of 5 area as well, which includes areas like Indianapolis, Bloomington, Indiana, Louisville, Cincinnati, and Dayton. Taking a look at the wind threat, not quite as high, but a 4 out of 5, which can still mean widespread wind gusts in this area of 65 mile per hour plus winds and 75 mile per hour wind gusts in a scattered fashion. So concerned about the wind threat as well, and I really think any of these storms will have the capability of producing large hail of 1 to 2 inches plus in these storms. Guys, that's what we have for this forecast analysis as of now. Share this with a friend. If you are interested in our real-time analysis as we go throughout the duration of the storm this evening, go to bamwx.com and click Get Instant Access. You can get a 7-day free trial of our Clarity Pro platform. It's really intended for businesses and organizations and schools and universities, but anybody can take advantage of that 7-day free trial. You can get down to the minute detail as these storms are coming in to keep you safe as we go throughout this afternoon and this evening in what could be a major tornado outbreak. Thanks, guys. Please stay safe as we go throughout this afternoon and this evening.